The New South Wales new regional fleet has yet again made an appearance in the media, with further cost blowouts and delays revealed. But what are these new trains? What has caused their issues? And crucially, how are they tracking? After reading as many of these articles as possible and sifting through many obscure government documents, not only have I found when they will start operating, but additionally how the train's manufacture is progressing, and most importantly, what they look like. And it's not what the renders would have you believe. New South Wales TrainLink is the operator of intercity and regional passenger services in the state by the same name. Their current all-diesel regional fleet comprises 19 XPT power cars and 60 XPT passenger cars, the oldest of which introduced 4 decades ago. As well as that, they operate 23 Explorer rail cars, which are 30 years old. In addition, they operate 28 Endeavour cars, which are a diesel intercity variant of the Explorer, of the same age. The age of the XPTs triggered the Baird coalition government to commit to finding replacements if they were re-elected in 2015. They were, and in 2017 the programme was expanded to include replacements for the Explorers and Endeavours. Finally, in 2019, a contract was signed with a consortium comprised of CAF of Spain and 2 other smaller Australian groups. The order with CAF included 117 cars from the Civity family, with 10 6-car sets to replace XPTs on services to Brisbane, Casino, Grafton, Dubbo and Melbourne, known from here on as the Long Regional Trains, or LRs for short. 9 3-car sets to replace Explorers on services to Armidale, Moree, Broken Hill, Griffith and Canberra, the Short Regional Trains, or SRs, and 10 3-car intercity sets to replace some Endeavours, I suspect on the Bomaderry Shuttle, Bathurst Bullet and Southern Highlands line, with Endeavours retained on the Hunter line. All would be built at CAF's Bezain factory in Spain. All trains are designed to operate at 160 km per hour, and both have pantographs and underfloor diesel engines to reduce emissions when overhead power is available. The original entry to service was early 2023 for the first XPT replacements, with Explorer and Endeavour replacements following in the years after. In July 2022, less than a year before the slated entry to service, and with only renders to go off, the Sydney Morning Herald reported that due to disputes in the design of various passenger amenities, such as disabled access, the project was at a serious risk of delays and cost overruns, with a notional 558-day delay announced. In September, the SMH further revealed the fleet was delayed by 1,205 days, this time due to disagreements with legroom and seat pitch, with Transport for New South Wales concerned about passenger comfort in CAF's design. Additional points of contention included the toilets, bins, crew seats, audio system and location of bicycle racks, with modifications ordered to the doors, driver's seat, communications equipment, lighting and fridges. In November of the same year, the SMH revealed that on 2 separate occasions, in 2022, transport officials were flown to Spain in an attempt to reduce the impacts of the significant design changes to the trains. Officials were concerned by CAF's extensive record keeping, with the department claiming CAF had authored modifications to the programme timetables. The next month, the delay was reported by the SMH to be 35 months, with the new entry to service falling sometime around 2026-27. Finally, in February of 2023, the extent of the cost blowouts were revealed, an extra $1 billion, or roughly double the original programme cost, with Infrastructure New South Wales criticising Transport for New South Wales for poor planning, weak oversight and failure to recognise the potential for delays and blowouts. It was also revealed that many within Transport believed the selected off-the-shelf design of train would be inadequate for the operations they were supposed to run, something I will share my thoughts on later. The first delivery was expected in May 2025, with a worst-case entry to service of April 2027, 4 years late. To rub salt in the wound, the Infrastructure New South Wales report also warned of union refusal to operate the trains and further modifications required before the trains could carry passengers. Further trips to Spain would take place later in 2023 at a cost of roughly $75,000 to taxpayers. In September, after a change of government, an additional $826 million blowout was reported, with a worst-case entry to service revised to December 2025. The most recent report by the SMH from January 5, 2024 claims Transport have further disputes over door controls, emergency exit devices, doors, CCTV, gauge lights, crew steps and passenger information systems, with CAF ordered to remove CCTV cameras from cabs, crew group call functionality and satellite connections when travelling through mobile black spots. That brings us up to the present day, with the programme sitting on a 40-month delay, with the last train due to enter service in April 2026. 9 trains are currently in various stages of construction, with the first due to arrive in New South Wales in the first quarter of 2024. The SMH reported heavily on Transport for New South Wales' willingness to fly officials to Spain to supervise the construction of the trains and ensure progress is made with negotiations. After some digging, I have found reports of these trips, and they contain a treasure trove of information not previously reported, including a large amount of images of the trains. The first report, covering a trip to Bazaine in September 2022, shows at this stage Long Regional Train number 01 was approaching completion but not built to the final design, with supervised testing of various systems undertaken. LR02 and LR03 at this stage had their car bodies completed but were at different stages of other work, with CAF exhibiting, quote, appreciable standards of workmanship. This trip cost $44,000. The second report covered a trip in June 2023 and included a supervised test run on the test track in LR01 alongside various static testing. Some tests were conducted on LR05, which was the only other train to enter production by then. Neither LR02 or LR03 were tested dynamically, and CAF's workmanship again described as being of an appropriate standard. The trip cost $18,000. The third report covered another trip in June, this time accompanied by union representatives who rode on LR01 for a test run on diesel and electric power and the transition between the two. They also inspected the cab layout of LR02, which is of an updated design. The report noted that modest changes would be necessary to achieve the union's desired Waratah-style operating model. The trip cost $27,000. The final report details a trip in July of 2023, with observation of noise testing, emissions testing, and compatibility with axle counters. No mention of trains other than LR01 and LR02 was made. These trains have come under fire by enthusiasts, the media, and reportedly staff within Transport, who believe they will not be able to adequately operate the services they were ordered for, a belief I agree with. The new regional fleet are part of a broader family of CAF trains called the Civity, which are sometimes disliked by the public for their rough riding. CAF's railway products also have some notoriety for their general poor design and build quality. Their Urbos 3 trams have had to be suspended 5 times on 4 systems, including in Sydney, over cracking issues. Class 332s in the UK were pulled from service following underframe cracks, as well as the Class 195 Civity units after a yaw damper bracket detached. LRVs in the Philippines were withdrawn due to water leaks, and trains in Spain were too large for tunnels. A Norwegian operator withdrew their trains after only 19 days in service due to severe cracking in the chassis, and they took 2 years to be repaired. The most damning of all, however, is the case of the Mark 5A coaches in the UK, which are being permanently withdrawn from service after only 4 years of service, following poor availability due to, you guessed it, cracking. Even when looking at the new regional fleet in isolation, some concerns still arise. These trains have no sleeping berths, leading to the new government potentially refurbishing old XPT sleeper cars to continue sleeper service. The trains will also be the first ever bi-mode civities anywhere in the world, as well as the first in Australia and the first to operate across long distances. No civity has ever been made to run for 14 hours continuously through dusty environments. All of which lead me to believe these trains will experience serious teething problems on their arrival. One can also question the use of DMUs with underfloor engines for such long operations, which create loud and hot car interiors, certainly not somewhere you'd want to spend on an overnight service to Melbourne, for example. I believe the CAF trains are not the best choice, and the government was enticed by low prices. CAF is often nicknamed cheap AF. To replace the XPTs, I believe a slightly smaller variant of the Siemens Aero, which Amtrak have ordered to replace electric and diesel locomotives on their northeast corridor. The trains have a single Siemens charger locomotive at one end, then a hybrid electrical support car with passenger accommodation, with a pantograph to allow operations under wires. Several passenger cars then follow, with a cab car on the rear. These bi-mode trains can reach 200 km per hour. Obviously, significant modifications would be made to bring these trains into line with restrictive New South Wales loading gauge requirements, but benefits to passengers would include reliable and comfortable journeys in relative silence, as the diesel engine is moved into one large power car, much like the current XPTs. To replace the Explorers, I believe trains of the Stadler-Flirt family would be better. These trains are already built as bi-mode units for the far smaller British loading gauge, and despite being DMUs, they have a central power pack, much like a power car, which keeps noise to a minimum. The case for the Endeavours, on the other hand, is interesting. I strongly believe in the continued electrification of intercity lines, and if wires could reach Bomaderry and Bathurst, Endeavours need not operate there, and could instead be refurbished and reallocated to the Hunter and Southern Highlands lines, with the potential for some Explorers to be rebuilt into Endeavours, with some used as spare parts donors. If the Hunter line was electrified to Maitland, Endeavours could be completely displaced from the Hunter line, along with some Hunter railcars, which could then be used to bolster service on the Southern Highlands line. The trains are certainly not immune from trouble yet. However, with an expected delivery in the coming months, it will be interesting to see the path towards eventual entry into service. I have ideas for more videos like this in the future, and please let me know if that would interest you. Thank you so much for watching this video. It would mean a lot to me if you would like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.